Hey, Jeb Brooks, greenergrass.com. Thanks for tuning in. I just had the chance to fly with Etihad for the first time. Their business class service from Jakarta to Abu Dhabi on an A330. You know, I've heard a lot through the years about the Mideast 3 and their levels of service, their overindulgence and so forth, and I can attest, this business class experience was pretty special. So stay tuned, keep watching to find out what it was like, and I'll give you a little bit of a spoiler alert. There's another video coming. I had the chance to fly first class with Etihad as well, so I hope you'll subscribe in order to get first access to my video about my first class experience with Etihad. But for now, let's check out business class. Here we go. The Jakarta airport. Now, I landed with Garuda Indonesia from Bali into the beautiful, sparkling new Terminal 3. I had to make my way over to the older International Terminal 2. And I thought the SkyTrain could take me there, but unfortunately it wasn't open yet. So I had a long journey on a shuttle bus, and as you can see, it was hot in Jakarta. Now I finally made it, and there's the Etihad A330 that would take me to Abu Dhabi. Now I'd be traveling in style in their business class. Now this is seat 9A, that's where I'm going to be, and it was a very comfortable seat. Now we'll explore the seat in much more detail in just a few minutes, of course. But it's worth noting there were only 7 or 8 people in this huge business class cabin. Now that meant, of course, great individualized attention. And I hope you'll enjoy taking advantage of that with me on this flight. Let's get started.
That was one of the most challenging boarding experiences I've ever had, or rather ticketing. I got here early enough to catch an earlier flight, but it involved a lot of paperwork. The computers were down or didn't work, I don't know. But I'm here now. So let's get this thing started. I guess you can see how hot it is.
The heat didn't prevent me from ordering a glass of champagne, but I was sure glad to have the option to request a cold towel on this hot day. As always, if I go too fast, feel free to pause on the menu or fast forward a bit if you want to skip it. Etihad provided noise-canceling headphones in business class, but I prefer to use my own. I thought this warning label was both intimidating and a little bit funny. The tray table position here with this particular seat is certainly unique, but very convenient, and the tray table is certainly sufficiently sized. Shortly after takeoff, I had some warm nuts and a glass of white wine. Now for the good stuff. I began with a meze, but not before trying to figure out how to set up this camera. Now I gotta tell you, making these trip reports is, well, it's a little harder than it looks. But let's eat. Plenty in the way of seat adjustments, which was good because I was ready for bed.
We're beginning our descent, and I gotta tell you, I slept for about 5 hours. It's an A330. There is a noticeable difference between this airplane and the A350 I was on the other day with Delta, and the 787 I'm about to be on. I mean, it's drier. It's less. The sleep is not as good. That said, it was a good 5 hours. I'm ready to get into Abu Dhabi and spend some time exploring the airport and the lounge. Join me and see what we see.
Because I slept, I missed most of the flight, but you can see it was a pretty direct path, although we took a little turn over India. For breakfast, I had some cappuccino, nuts, and potato chips. When we arrived at the gate, the crew came on the intercom and announced that we all needed to remain seated because the police would be boarding soon. Now, this understandably got everybody's attention. It turned out somebody had had a bit too much to drink and caused some trouble. So they did allow the business class cabin to deplane before the police came on, so I didn't see the perpetrator in action, but it certainly was an interesting welcome to Abu Dhabi. Next up, a visit to the first-class lounge in Abu Dhabi.